Today we'll take a look at Z CAM P2R1, and you could say, well, just another PTZ camera, but no camera is just another camera to us. When we integrate with products from our many partner brands, we respect their unique features by bringing them into our controllers. And just like that, you'll see how the PTZ Fly and the PTZ Pro, they are oozing of Z CAM love in the configurations I'm about to show you. All standard settings, the matrix, LUT control, PTZ Trace, all the good stuff is in there. This is PTZ Pro and PTZ Fly, our most popular PTZ controllers at all. And both of them are capable of controlling this great camera. Let's just go straight to it. On the camera selector, the camera is selected. We can use the joystick to operate the camera. We can recall a preset. And the preset is a pre-recorded position in the camera. So you'll see the camera is now moving into a position that I have previously determined and stored in the controller. And it's a very popular and important feature for a PTZ camera. So you see it's now pointing over here, but I also want to record another preset, so we could maybe just slightly go to the side, zoom in a little bit by rotating the joystick, then tilt up a little bit, and I think, okay, I like that framing. And if I want to store that as a preset, I'll press and hold, and then I could zoom in to this color chart over here. All right, we are there, press and hold on number 3. By the way, if I want to do the same on the PTZ Fly, I could do that. So let's just make the 4th preset here on the Fly. We'll zoom in on this sports car and press and hold on preset number 4 over here. Okay, now let's recall preset number 2 on the PTZ Fly. Remember, this is sending a command to the camera and it goes into the position I recorded on the other controller because it's all stored in the camera. And these two controllers are both talking to that camera. All right, recalling preset number 3, recalling preset number 4, no problem at all. This is classic preset recall. Just real quick, let's take a look at how the UI of these two products look. And I say both of them are talking to this camera, and actually that's not entirely true. It is the PTZ Pro which is mainly talking to the camera. And it turns out that if you look at the UI of the PTZ Pro, this is coming straight out of this unit, so it's powerful enough to have a web UI like this. It talks to the camera, it talks to itself, but it also manages the PTZ Fly. The PTZ Fly itself also has a UI. This is the UI of PTZ Fly, but actually I have disabled its local engine to control the camera. Why? Because I guess for network reasons, I just like to have like a single connection from a control system to the camera. And then in the SKAARHOJ universe, both of these products, they can use that single connection. So the PTZ Fly today is talking through the PTZ Pro to the camera to save bandwidth to the camera. Now, for some cameras, this is actually important because some cameras will have a limit on how many clients could control it simultaneously. And with this technology, we're actually doing away with that limit for any camera. I don't know if that's the case with the Z CAM. I think today this was just set up for fun, so don't put anything into it, but it shows the flexibility of the technology you get with both of these products. This is just how we did it today. Another thing is, if you look in this UI, you can see that for both controllers, if we go to the camera selector, we have selecting the PTZ camera and a box camera here next to. This video is not about this camera, I'll just quickly show it, but it indicates that these products are capable of handling multiple different Z CAM cameras. And they have more or less the same configuration and parameters, as we'll see. But today it's mainly the PTZ camera that we'll be focusing on. But let's say that we don't want to have the box camera available on the PTZ Fly. I'll simply just remove it from the selector, and there you see it's disappearing from the camera selector. And that's the reason why you can have many cameras over here, many devices connected, but you specifically have to assign those devices to the control panels that you have here on the right side, or sorry, left side. Now, let's move into talking about this or looking into the menu of this camera. So on a PTZ Fly, we have a button that toggles on and off access to the presets. You see on the PTZ Pro, the presets are always there and the camera selector is always there. That's one of the main differences. That is, here you have more immediate access to things by simply having more buttons to access, while over here we have sort of packed it into toggling technology like this. The same is true for going through the different menu levels. So you can see those menus are available in this way by pressing the button repeatedly, you're toggling through. Over here we have the menus available by simply pushing these buttons. And in some cases, and that's a clever little thing on the way this is done, this is the same on both of them actually, but there's a page here, an additional page where this button is paging through options. Well, we'll get to that. But on this menu page, that's like the first menu, you can see we have ISO, shutter, shutter angle, and the iris. Let's try to adjust iris on this one. So by turning this knob, you can see I'm adjusting the iris setting on the camera, and also the image is getting darker and now lighter as I'm turning it back. If you notice what happens on the PTZ Pro, you see the same parameters adjusted both places. Now, just wanted to point it out that they work simultaneously. So you can change ISO, you can set it to whatever you like here by this knob, turning it back to auto. We have shutter in degrees. Why? Because it is set to angle here, but I could turn it over to speed instead. Now you see it updates to speed down here, and I can now set the shutter speed in actual fractions of a second. All right, let's move on to the next page. And on the next page in the menu, you see we have exposure compensation here on this button. That's useful to kind of adjust the image if you want it lighter or darker compared to the automatic exposure that has been chosen for it. We also have max ISO speed we can set. We can set a metering mode. There are three different options here, and so on. Moving on to the next page. Actually, let's just move up here and then look at it from this point of view here. We have a white balance on this menu. It is currently set to auto, but we can also select some of the presets. They are, as you find in many cameras, daylight, indoor, outdoor, whatever. And if you get to a page like shade, we have a white balance priority setting that we can adjust, and we also have total manual mode, where you have the same priority, but you also have a value in Kelvin that you can adjust on the image. Actually, I would like to just recall a different preset to get out to a little wider image. We have it right here. And then let's move on with our setting of white balance. Probably this is pretty nice. And I can then also adjust other parameters here. I could actually go on like this and just show you countless of features like that. But so let's just like go through. You have knee, you have knee navel, point, and slope. Here we are using this as a paging button. So you have gamma, and you can set gamma settings. You can set black level settings. You can turn that on and off and set the level over here. You have black gamma. You can turn it on and off and set levels for that in the camera. So all, again, that is the Seacham love I'm talking about. That is all these things that Seacham has put into this camera, available through the menus here. Specific things that they have imagined or engineered into this product is also brought out into your configuration on your SKAARHOJ product. That's classic SKAARHOJ, just to make that point, okay? So moving on to the next page here, we have ISO that, again, it looks a little bit like on the home menu, which is the first page you saw. And that is true, because on the first page, we typically put out some parameters which we imagine would be the most immediately useful for you. But if you disagree, you can reconfigure that inside of Reactor. We won't do that in this video, but I have other videos where I show how you can enter in and you can reassign what you see on that home screen menu. But here you have ISO, you have a shutter again, in various configurations, and then we get to the matrix. So in the matrix, basically turning this one on, you can see that we can do specific things for a specific color in the image. And just because it's a little bit of fun, then let's adjust the red-green dimension here of the camera. And if we bring that to a negative, you see how it's affecting the red color of the car significantly. We're basically turning up the red color here without really affecting many of the other things. And then, of course, we have something called red-blue here, which is adjusting the dimension that involves also the blue. So let's just have a little fun with that. All right, so I got these two. If I turn off the matrix now, you can see this is before, this is now after having applied that color matrix. And if you are geek in shading and color correction, you know exactly what that means. If you press and hold these two, then typically you are resetting the values to a nice 0, and you have the same for green and blue as well. Moving on, we have LUTs. We can choose different LUTs, and you see in the display which LUTs we are talking about. They many of them are well known, and some of them are just like obviously vivid. So LUT selection, noise reduction as the next one. If I could get back, yes, noise reduction on off. Different levels we have for that one, sharpness, etc. All right, lots of menu options for this camera. I want to show you PTZ Trace. PTZ Trace is a function that actually it does exist in some cameras, and maybe also this one, but it's something that in our context is applicable for any camera. And it is, you can record a path that it's following. So I want to give you a view into that. If you press and hold this button down, you can do the same over here. I think it is if I press and hold the lower button. No, it's the upper edge of this key. I get into the engineering menu. And in the engineering menu on any SKAARHOJ controller, you get a number of things that you can adjust, like sleep time, dim time, display brightness, LED. Very useful, of course, that we can do that. And in this case, it actually does it across these two because they are in the same panel group on the PTZ Pro. We can also change the pan, tilt, zoom directions. So you can basically invert the direction on the joystick if that's useful to you. Some people like to have the tilt direction reversed from, others. And so those are things that you find in these engineering menus. So let me see. There was this one called Trace enabled, and that's the one that I want to enable. Yes, okay, great. So if I exit now, what it means is that I can start a trace by pressing and holding the key. So I'll do that. Okay, press and hold on 5 for 3 seconds, and it turns into red. And by the way, I just want to do a quick little thing here. I press and hold this one down because then it swaps my camera selector for my preset selector. And that's useful because with presets, you want to see what is in the display. It has steps and time. So notice what happens on that display as I'm now zooming out and panning over here to the right and not zooming so much anymore. So let's assume that this is a nice shot that I want to record. Okay, I'm just going to stop now, and then I'm going to tilt up a little bit and zoom in on this color chart. Okay, and I'm going to stop here, and then I'm just panning a little bit back, and that's it. Okay, I want to stop my trace. I just did that. So now what I do is I press this button, and it's going to go back to the initial position. And then, as I press, hands off, it's now going to replay my little trace. Okay, I recorded a trace. And this can be done for any PTZ camera that SKAARHOJ supports in our controls because the functionality is inside the PTZ Pro. It's not in the camera. Well, it may be in some cameras because some cameras already have this kind of functionality in it, but we made it available to any camera. And that's typical SKAARHOJ. That's what we live and breathe for. Before we end this video, I just quickly want to show you that we have this box camera next to. It looks like this, and it's also a Z CAM camera, and it's not a PTZ camera, but you could put it on a pan tilt head if you want, or on a slider or whatever. And on our products, now we have the camera selector up here, and down here we have it. Oh yeah, we removed it. That's right. In the UI, I just removed it from the PTZ Fly. But we have it as camera number 2 on the PTZ Pro, and that means that all the settings in the menus are now swapped over to the box camera instead of the PTZ camera. So just quickly, let's set something like a different ISO speed. So, let's just go to the camera here. Okay, so you can see as I'm adjusting the ISO setting, something is supposed to happen. Actually, it is happening. It's just being compensated by the shutter speed at the same time. So this is why you didn't see that clear a reaction. But yes, I can adjust the same settings. And now, as I change these settings here, changing to the camera shows you the other setting for that from the PTZ camera. So, of course, going forth and back between cameras will always deliver you the settings for the selected camera, of course. And even beyond Z CAM, you can add other types of cameras in here, whether they are PTZ cameras, makes a lot of sense with a joystick, right? Or a box camera, studio camera, whatever. You might also want to control from the same control panel and still enjoy the menus to adjust settings. So with PTZ Fly and PTZ Pro, you have got one combined control solution for Z CAM PTZ cameras and cinema cameras, and you can also mix and match other cameras and brands. And with SKAARHOJ technology, you can also use them as fully integrated with pedestals and sliders and PTZ heads, etc. If you've got questions, our sales and support team is here to help, and you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and X, or you can subscribe to our newsletter. All the links to that is in the description below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to this video channel to stay updated on the latest from SKAARHOJ.